For this presentation, I decided to focus on the Native American culture and their perspectives on death. Native Americans view life and death as a journey full of learning experiences, and this culture embraces death to the fullest. They're not very scared to die, and they are preparing for it for their whole lives. They believe that when they pass over, it is to the spirit world, and they are greeted by their ancestors who have already passed. Native Americans don't fear this time at all, and they welcome it with open arms. They believe that their spirit will live on and continue to help the tribe that they left. Perspectives and customs about death vary from tribe to tribe, but overall, death is embraced. There are over 500 Native American nations, and each has its own traditions, but attitudes about aging and the elderly are all very similar. Elders are respected for their wisdom and their life journey. It is common for the elders to be expected to pass down their wisdom to the younger family members once they pass. As I stated before, customs vary from tribe to tribe, including death rituals. Now there are many factors that they base their rituals on, and some of these factors include their spiritual beliefs or their religious beliefs, their belief about the life after death or reincarnation. The social status of a person who died is also a factor. Like I said, elderlies are very well respected, so if an elderly person dies in their tribe, they might value this more, or they might do a certain ritual for that person. Other factors include connections with ancestors and connections with animal and nature. Sometimes they'll incorporate animals or even bury animals with the deceased, depending on the tribe. Among all tribes, Native American death rituals focus on helping the deceased be comfortable for the afterlife. Some rituals include placing food, weapons, jewelry, personal possessions, even animals in the burial site for the deceased to use in the afterlife. The common rituals include having a medicine man or a spiritual leader lead the funeral. They also might ask deceased ancestors to join in, and they use smoke. A lot of times you'll think of them using smoke, and this is usually to call on ancestors who have already passed. They also stand in circles, and this is symbolic for the circle of life, and it could mean something different between each tribe. And they also believe that death is a journey to the new world. Death ceremonies celebrate death, and some even celebrate with certain dances. The ghost dance is the most common among tribes, and what this does, it gives them hope and reassurance about those who have passed and oncoming deaths that may be in the future. It just gives them reassurance. These dances also help with healing rituals. Native Americans grieve and heal differently than we typically would. We have our stages of grief, and Native Americans they don't view it as stages. They have ceremonies based on their spiritual beliefs that are incorporated in the healing process. The burial process is also very different. In some tribes, when one dies, family members have specific duties to prepare the deceased for death. So once someone dies, for example, they might wrap them in a certain blanket or clothing or in a hide of some kind and bury it with certain gifts that are meaningful to that person. The burial site is also considered very sacred, and it is to be checked carefully on the day of the burial. Some tribes today will have what we would call a traditional burial and funeral, but would still incorporate some rituals like the dances or having smoke, standing in circles, or even inviting a medicine man or the spiritual leader to help guide the funeral. Overall, Native Americans are an interesting culture, and their views on death can be very inspiring to others.